Well, this month in our Sunday morning services, we're going to be looking at the Christmas accounts in Matthew and Luke regarding the birth of Christ. And we're going to talk about some of the people that were involved in everything that was taking place during the time that Christ was born. And in Luke chapter 1, we're introduced to Zachariah and Elizabeth. Zachariah is a priest. He's from the family of Levi. Elizabeth is an older cousin to Mary. And when we read in Luke chapter 1, we see that Zachariah's division, his group of priests, they were divided into groups and they would be on at certain times and live at the temple, and then other times they were home with their families. And Zachariah's group was on, and he was chosen to go into the sanctuary and to offer some incense. Now, one thing that we should note about Zachariah and Elizabeth was that they had no children. Elizabeth was barren, could not give birth. And while Zachariah was in offering incense, it says the whole multitude of the people were praying outside at the hour of incense. This is Luke 1:10. Verse 11 says, "And there appeared to him an angel of the Lord standing on the right side of the altar of incense. And Zechariah was troubled when he saw him." As you might imagine, Zechariah was used to going in there alone and lighting the incense while all the people stayed outside and they prayed. And all of a sudden there was an angel standing there. And fear fell upon him, but the angel said to him, "Do not be afraid, Zechariah, for your prayer has been heard, and your wife Elizabeth will bear you a son, and you shall call his name John." Now, this baby would become known as John the Baptist, and he was sent by God to prepare people for the appearance of Jesus Christ and the ministry of Christ. But what I want you to notice there is that Zachariah and Elizabeth had been faithful in praying that God would give them a son, or that he would give them a child, a family. And yet God had not answered their prayers. It is so important for us as we walk with God. I'm not talking about off doing our own thing, not caring about who God is or what he's doing, but even for those of us who are walking with God, that we continue to be faithful even when our prayers are not answered. It is so difficult to not hear what we want to hear from God when we pray. And I think Zachariah and Elizabeth are instructive to us about the importance of surrendering our timing to God and trusting that he will do as he will when he is ready to, in his time. How about you today? Do you have something that you've been praying about for a month, 6 months, a year, maybe years or decades? That a loved one, a family member would come to Christ, that an illness would be healed, that something in your life would be made right. Can I encourage you this morning to surrender your timing to the Lord and trust him to work as he will?